Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at OKLO. It is time for another update, and today we will be tracking the structure that is forming here to the downside within the correction, where we are looking for a wave B retracement into the levels between the $77.7 level all the way down to the $29.7, the 78.6% retracement. Now before we get to this, I would like to go quickly through the larger time frame, because here, while it did get simplified in terms of what pattern we are looking to form, it is still there are actually still a couple of options that we could follow through. Now here we are looking mainly at a 1-2 setup, and we are tracking a wave 3 which we expect to form to the upside. So from a large time frame perspective, there is still a lot of potential on this chart, and if we really are to form a wave 3 to the upside, I would be looking at the 138.2% extension to be reached. The 138.2% extension of the wave 1, which is around the $470-$480 level. Now, if we actually don't get there within this structure, I would probably have to track a different pattern. It would be rather unlikely that this structure will have worked out if we don't manage to get to those levels. Now, this is in our bullish interpretation, in our bullish conservative interpretation. But I do actually have a couple of other scenarios which could still work out. Now, we aren't tracking the impulse any longer because, we failed to hold the relevant support in the previous video, and we removed that scenario from the chart. We aren't tracking the idea of an impulse because, it failed to hold the relevant support levels, and we did so rightly, removing the area of support and the idea, because we formed an additional low afterwards actually. Now, if we are to consider the larger time frame, I do have to warn you, it is technically possible for us to track this into a larger ABC pattern to the upside. It is not necessarily preferred, but technically it could work out for something like a 1, 2, 3, 4th and the 5th. And in that case, we would have actually even reached the 100% extension of the wave A, if we look here at the wave C. But at least based on the RSI, it would rather be suggested to us that this isn't necessarily done. We can still form higher highs. We can consider this an ABC structure in a wave A. It is probably even a preferred scenario, a preferred interpretation at this point for me. But it is something to watch out for. And then there is a more immediately bullish scenario in which we could still form another high within this area, but then this would even more clearly so be within a larger diagonal pattern, where here we are tracking an ABC. It would be within something like a 1, 2, 3, 4th and the 5th. This could still work out, but it does not have the probabilities that I'm really tracking. Now, if we manage to form an initial 5-wave structure to the upside, I will consider that option. I will look with higher likelihood for a bottom to have already formed within this area. But at this point, I do have to say, what is most likely to me is that we should be prepared for the larger area of support, here in white. Now, in the shorter time frame, we have been tracking this downtrend, and I have to say it is quite close to actually having a complete count. In fact, we may even consider this a full wave 5 complete. Now, I would actually like to see still an additional low for more clarity of the structure that has actually played to the downside, where I would probably be tracking this as an ABC, and in the wave C, I would be looking here at a 1, 2, 3, 4th and the 5th. Now, if we don't get this additional 5th wave to the downside, it is not the end of the world. And in the end, we did even get to the 61.8% retracement within this push higher. But if we manage to actually form an additional high within this area, I would be much more open to actually even considering a bottom within this correction. And I would already start tracking the wave B to the upside in green, where we have a resistance area between the $123.5 all the way up to the $165.8 level. Now, in rest, we have a full count basically within this area. We can consider this ABC done, and I don't necessarily look forward for an extension, for a larger extension within this push lower. I could argue that sure, a 1-2 could be fine. It could be prepared for such a pattern, but this is not really expected at all to form as a larger wave 3 to the downside, at least not at this point. Yeah, we have our divergences, which are quite significant already, even on the 4-hour time frame, and we are prepared for a more significant retracement. And yeah, I fear for OKLO that this may be one of the charts that won't necessarily get to form an additional high. Now remember, there is that one scenario which does allow for an additional extension higher, but it's not necessarily my preferred scenario at the moment. We would need some more evidence for that actually. And what else I could actually provide? Well, I would like to actually check the ideal target for the wave C to the downside within this ABC structure, which was not reached yet. So yeah, if we actually get another low within this push down and even get to the 100% extension, even better. We have an even more clear count as we expected. And other than that, I have noticed that we may be able to use a trend line as just some more generic baseline we could track for continuation to higher prices. And as we can see here, we have actually managed to use this support area for several times before we have actually even started this larger, stronger movement to the upside. And we may even be prepared for another bounce once we reach this level, or this level, which is, yeah, let's actually check if it is in line with the 100% extension of the wave A. And yeah, at this point it very much is. So who knows, there are a lot of confluence points that lead us to believe that we should expect still another low before a more significant bounce, but no given, we could in the end push in a more direct fashion higher. But I'm looking still for resistance to form unless we manage to form a more clear 5-wave structure to the upside. And for now, these are the levels. This is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover. And I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.